Today I'm going to bring you comics news and reveal the books I bought this week. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching the Comic Hero Show. Now kick that intro! Welcome to this edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host Victor Nolly, and I am the Comic Hero. This month is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. Now, cervical cancer is a type of cancer that occurs in the cells of the cervix, which is the lower part of the uterus that connects to the vagina. Now, various strains of the human papillomavirus, or HPV, which is a sexually transmitted infection, play a role in causing most cervical cancers. When a woman is exposed to HPV, their body's immune system typically prevents the virus from doing harm. But in a small percentage of women, however, the virus survives for years, contributing to the process that causes some cervical cells to become cancerous. Now, women, you can reduce your risk of developing cervical cancer by having screening tests or receiving a vaccine that protects you from HPV infections. Now, the early stage of cervical cancer generally produces no signs or symptoms. But signs and symptoms of more advanced cervical cancer include vaginal bleeding after intercourse, between periods, or after menopause, watery, bloody vagina discharge that may be heavy and have a foul odor, and then pelvic pain or pain during intercourse. Now, this is a cervical cancer awareness themed comic hero tee. And inside the speech bubble, you have the logo for Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. And then here on the right sleeve, you have Stop Cervical Cancer. And here on the left sleeve, you have the cervical cancer ribbon. Now, someone once asked me, why do I choose to raise awareness of different causes? Especially if I haven't experienced them firsthand. My answer to that is simple. I go by the principle of it shouldn't have to happen to you for it to matter to you. I mean, I may be informing anyone. I could be informing someone's mother, someone's sister, someone's daughter, someone's granddaughter, someone's niece, someone's aunt, someone's cousin. You just never know. And there are men and women that watch the show, and whenever there's a cause that I feel needs to be raised awareness of, I'm going to do it. Because someone could be going through this and they never know. And then, and not only that, but I also want to do it to reach out to them to let you know that it's okay to not be okay. But at the same time, you need to fight. All right, now this episode is going to be very abbreviated. There's not going to be a free tea giveaway or a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. But I will let y'all know what the free tea question of the week is, because I'm going to do a drawing for that on the next episode, which is episode 385. Here's the question again. Now, true or false? Stan Lee's former publisher originally hated Stan Lee's concept of Spider-Man. Now, everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tea on episode 385, which is the next episode I do. And then on next week's episode, I'm not going to have a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight. Instead, I'm going to bring back a segment that I haven't done in a long time, and that's Comicology 101. And this has to do with a question that was asked to me by a very good friend of mine. But I am going to have Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! All right, there are two things we're going to talk about in this segment of Comically Speaking, and one's Marvel and the other's DC. Now, here's the DC topic. Now, DC has announced plans to kill the Justice League by murdering major characters. Now, the current writer on Justice League is Brian Michael Bendis. Now, for those of y'all that have been reading comics for a long time, especially over the past 18 to 20 years, we've seen this before with Bendis. For those of y'all who don't know, Brian Michael Bendis took over as the writer of Avengers back in late 2003. And what was his first story arc? Avengers Disassembled. And that's when there were certain characters in the Avengers that ended up dying. And then the team at a time disbanded. But then he ended up coming out with a new book called The New Avengers, which featured Captain America and Iron Man putting together a brand new team of Avengers that consisted of characters like Wolverine, Spider-Man, the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman, Luke Cage, and the Sentry, just to name a few. And I believe this is exactly what he's trying to do with the Justice League. Now, I'm a little concerned about which characters he's going to kill off. Because, and this all takes place in Justice League number 75, which is coming out in a few months. Now, this is all, DC has announced they're also doing this because this is also the 30-year anniversary of the death of Superman. And, you know, as an 11-year-old, that still terrifies me. You know, because I actually read Superman number 75 when it came out, and let me tell you, I was horrified. And I still haven't recovered from that, and I don't know. I mean, I honestly have no clue as to who's going to get killed off, and I currently read Justice League, and and I didn't really see any signs of any of this coming to fruition. But ever since I read this article, I'm on pins and needles already. I mean, I can't stand to wait, but at the same time, I'm kind of concerned. But will it bring about the birth of a brand new Justice League? Just have to wait and see. All right, now the second thing, there's a one-shot coming out this spring for Marvel called Captain America number 0. And out of this, now it's going to focus on Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers. Now, keep in mind that Sam has decided to take up the mantle of Captain America again in the United States of Captain America, which was this miniseries that came out for Marvel last year. And not only that, he also got his own shield. And just like that was the focal point, this one shot is also going to, Sam and Steve are also going to be the focal point of this one. But out of this one shot comes not one, but 2 Captain America monthly books. Now the first one is called Captain America Symbol of Truth. Now it's going to be written by Toshi Onyebuchi with art by R.B. Silva. And this is Sam's book. And so glad that he's decided to take up the mantle of Cap. Now he's doing this even though Steve Rogers is still Captain America. But what's better than 1 Cap? 2. And I'm really excited about R.B. Silva writing this book. Now Silva, I tell you, I've been a fan of his artwork for over a decade. It all started when he penciled the Superboy series that came out in 2011, and then he made the transition over to Marvel and has penciled books like Captain Marvel, X-Men, and Fantastic Four. And I honestly can't wait to see his artwork and how he pencils Sam. And wow, really excited. Now the second book is called Captain America Sentinel of Liberty. Now this is written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing with art by Carmen Carnero. Now this is Steve Rogers' book. And I can't wait. You know, I've always been an admirer of Captain America ever since the 1992 movie. I didn't even know who Captain America was till I saw the live action movie that came out in '92, and then I played the Avengers arcade game, well, which is now classic. And then I started, and that prompted me to start reading Captain America, and I really love, you know, Steve's story and all the adventures that he's had along the way. And also the fact that Carmen Carnero is penciling this book. I mean, Carmen Carnero is another young artist. I mean, she's penciled on Miles Morales' Spider-Man and several other books, and I can't wait to see what she has in store for the original Captain America. Or should I say the Steve Rogers Captain America. The original Captain America was actually Isaiah Bradley. But really can't wait to read these books when they come out. I'm very excited. I mean, spring can't come any sooner. All right, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right, first up is The Amazing Spider-Man number 85. Dark Ages number 4. Detective Comics number 1048. Fantastic Four number 39. Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes number 1. The Joker number 11. Marauders number 27. Titans United number 5. And finally, X-Men Legends number 10. Alright, that's 9, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 11,133. Alright, well, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. True or false? Stan Lee's former publisher originally hated Lee's concept of Spider-Man. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee on the next episode of the show. And speaking of the next episode of the show, which is episode 385, I'm going to raise awareness of birth defects. Now, a lot of now 1 out of 33 babies born here in America are born with some kind of abnormality. And I personally know some folks that were born with birth defects. And this episode is for them and their families, and the families of, and just about anyone throughout the world who has been born with a birth defect, and their families as well. Now, in episode 386, I'm going to raise awareness of heart health. February is Heart Health Awareness Month, and I mean, any cause that can be raised awareness of, I'm going to do it. And then episodes 387 through 390. They're all going to be Mardi Gras themed episodes. And the desk is going to be completely decked out in Mardi Gras decor. I'm even going to break out the Mardi Gras tree just like I did last year. I mean, if you're afraid to go to any Mardi Gras parades because of this pandemic, you can definitely watch this show and have a good old time. Alright, I know this episode is abbreviated, and I have no regrets for doing that. but I can guarantee you that the next episode is going to be better. And I just want to thank each and every one of y'all that have been on this ride with me since day one, and those that came later. And even those of y'all that are watching the first time, thank y'all so much. And if y'all have any suggestions, anything y'all think that would make the show better, that's very productive and not tasteless, please let me know. Your thoughts never fall upon deaf ears with me. All right, I'm Victor Noley on The Comic Hero. I'll see you next time for episode 385. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero.